There's a moment in your healing journey when something fundamental shifts inside you, when the narcissist's words lose their power to wound, when their manipulations bounce off you like arrows off armor, when their emotional terrorism can no longer reach the core of who you are. You've become what Carl Jung would recognize as psychologically individuated, unbreakable not because you've hardened your heart, but because you've integrated your shadow, claimed your power, and developed an unshakable connection to your authentic self. But here's what most people don't understand about reaching this state of inner sovereignty. The narcissist's reaction to your unbreakability isn't just frustration or increased manipulation attempts. It's something far darker, far more primitive, and far more revealing of the true nature of narcissistic psychology. If you've ever wondered why a narcissist becomes almost inhuman when they realize they can no longer break you, if you've witnessed that cold, calculating darkness that seems to emerge from the depths of their psyche when their usual tactics fail against your newfound strength, then you need to understand what Jung would call the unleashing of the complete shadow self. Hit that like button if you're ready to explore this disturbing psychological territory, and subscribe with notifications on, because we're about to examine the most dangerous phase of narcissistic abuse. The phase that emerges when they realize you've become immune to their psychological warfare. Your journey to unbreakability represents everything the narcissist fears most: authentic power, genuine self-worth, emotional independence, and the ability to see through their manipulations with crystal clarity. When they realize that you've developed what Jung called conscious suffering, the ability to feel pain without being destroyed by it, to face truth without being shattered by it, to love without losing yourself in it, they experience something that goes beyond mere frustration. They experience what can only be described as existential rage. This isn't the calculated anger they've used as a manipulation tool throughout the relationship. This is something far more primitive, far more desperate, and far more dangerous. It's the rage of a psychological parasite that has suddenly discovered its host has developed immunity. It's the fury of someone whose entire sense of self depends on their ability to break others, confronted with a person who has become genuinely unbreakable. The first manifestation of this dark reaction is what I call identity annihilation warfare. When the narcissist realizes that they can no longer hurt you through emotional manipulation, can no longer control you through fear or guilt, can no longer diminish you through criticism or gaslighting, they shift into a mode of attack that's designed not just to hurt you, but to completely destroy your sense of self. This goes beyond character assassination or reputation destruction. This is systematic psychological warfare aimed at convincing you that your unbreakability is actually a form of mental illness. They'll claim that your emotional stability is evidence of your coldness, that your clarity about their behavior proves you're vindictive, that your refusal to be manipulated demonstrates your cruelty. They'll present your healing journey as evidence of your dysfunction, your boundaries as proof of your selfishness, your inner peace as indication of your disconnection from reality. Jung would recognize this as the complete projection of their own shadow onto your light. They cannot tolerate the existence of genuine strength because it exposes their own psychological poverty. What makes this identity annihilation warfare particularly insidious is its sophistication. The narcissist doesn't present obviously false accusations that your rational mind can easily dismiss. Instead, they take your greatest strengths, your empathy, your self-awareness, your commitment to growth, and they reframe these strengths as pathological symptoms. Your ability to remain calm under pressure becomes evidence of your emotional detachment. Your refusal to engage in their drama becomes proof of your inability to connect authentically. Your commitment to your own healing becomes evidence of your selfishness and narcissism. This psychological warfare is designed to make you doubt the very foundations of your recovery. They want you to question whether your unbreakability is actually health or just another form of dysfunction. They want you to wonder if your ability to see through their manipulations is actually clarity or just your own projection. They want you to doubt whether your inner peace is genuine or just emotional numbing. The second dark reaction is what I call systematic reality inversion. When faced with your unbreakability, the narcissist doesn't just distort reality, they completely invert it. In their narrative, you become the narcissist, they become the victim, your strength becomes abuse, their manipulation becomes self-defense. But this isn't simple role reversal. It's a comprehensive reconstruction of reality where every aspect of the relationship dynamic is flipped to serve their psychological needs. Jung would understand this as the ultimate expression of what he called enantiodromia, the tendency for psychological situations to flip into their opposite when taken to extremes. But in the narcissist's case, this isn't a natural psychological process. It's a deliberate reconstruction of reality designed to maintain their inflated ego in the face of overwhelming evidence of their own dysfunction. In this inverted reality, your journey to emotional health becomes evidence of your mental illness. Your ability to maintain boundaries becomes proof of your cruelty. Your refusal to be manipulated becomes evidence of your manipulative nature. Your emotional stability becomes proof of your emotional dysfunction. Your clarity about their behavior becomes evidence of your delusions about their behavior. What's particularly disturbing about this systematic reality inversion is how comprehensive it becomes. The narcissist doesn't just reframe individual events or conversations. They create an entirely alternate universe where their abusive behavior becomes loving concern, where their manipulation becomes authentic emotion, where their cruelty becomes necessary correction of your behavior. This alternate reality is often so detailed, so internally consistent, and so passionately defended that it can shake even the most psychologically strong person's confidence in their own perceptions. The narcissist presents this inverted reality with such conviction, such emotional intensity, and such apparent sincerity that you may find yourself wondering if perhaps their version of events contains some truth you've been unable to see. The third manifestation of their dark reaction is what I call psychological scorched earth tactics. When the narcissist realizes that they cannot break your spirit, cannot manipulate your emotions, and cannot distort your reality, they often shift into a mode of pure destruction. If they cannot have you as a source of narcissistic supply, they will attempt to ensure that no one else can benefit from your strength, your wisdom, or your love. This phase involves systematic attempts to sabotage your relationships, your career, your reputation, and your future opportunities for happiness. They'll reach out to your friends, family, colleagues, and romantic interests with carefully crafted narratives designed to make you look unstable, unreliable, or dangerous. They'll share private information about your struggles, your vulnerabilities, or your past mistakes in ways that seem concerned, but are actually designed to damage your credibility and social connections. Jung would recognize this as the complete unleashing of what he called the destructive aspect of the shadow, the part of the psyche that would rather destroy than create, rather tear down than build up, rather spread darkness than allow light to exist. When the narcissist cannot consume your light, they attempt to extinguish it entirely. What makes these scorched earth tactics particularly devastating is their strategic nature. The narcissist doesn't act out of immediate rage or impulsive anger. They plan these attacks carefully, timing them for maximum impact and presenting them in ways that make you look like the aggressor while they appear to be the reasonable, concerned party. They might wait until you're starting a new relationship to share information designed to make your new partner question your stability. They might time their professional sabotage to coincide with important career opportunities. They might reach out to your family members during significant life events with narratives designed to create doubt about your mental health or character. The fourth dark reaction is what I call existential stalking through omnipresence creation. This doesn't necessarily involve physical stalking, though it can. More often, it involves the narcissist's attempts to maintain a psychological presence in your life, even when you've established no contact or minimal contact. They want you to know that they're still watching, still aware of your activities, still capable of reaching you even when you think you're safe. This might manifest as strategic social media activity designed to let you know they're monitoring your online presence. They might suddenly appear in places you frequent, not necessarily to confront you directly, but to create a sense of being watched or followed. They might reach out to mutual friends or acquaintances with casual questions about your well-being that are actually intelligence-gathering missions. Jung would understand this as the narcissist's attempt to maintain what he called participation mystique, a psychological fusion with you even when physical contact has been severed. They cannot tolerate your complete independence because it represents the death of their false self, which was partially constructed through their relationship with you. This existential stalking is designed to prevent you from ever feeling completely free from their influence. Even when you're not in direct contact, even when you're building new relationships and pursuing new opportunities, they want you to carry a part of them with you. The part that questions whether you're ever truly safe, whether you've ever truly escaped their reach. The fifth and perhaps most disturbing dark reaction is what I call proxy warfare through flying monkeys mobilization. When the narcissist realizes they cannot break you directly, they often recruit others to continue their psychological warfare on their behalf. These flying monkeys, friends, family members, mutual acquaintances, become unwitting weapons in the narcissist's campaign against your unbreakability. The narcissist shares carefully edited versions of your relationship history with these individuals, presenting themselves as the victim of your unreasonable behavior, your emotional instability, or your vindictive nature. They don't ask these people to attack you directly. Instead, they create situations where these individuals feel compelled to intervene in your relationship dynamics because they believe they're helping to resolve a misunderstanding or supporting someone who's been unfairly treated. Jung would recognize this as a sophisticated form of shadow projection, where the narcissist not only projects their own dysfunction onto you, but recruits others to validate and act upon these projections. The flying monkeys become extensions of the narcissist's shadow, carrying out attacks that the narcissist cannot perform directly without revealing their true nature. What makes this proxy warfare particularly insidious is that it often involves people you care about, people whose opinions matter to you, people who have genuine relationships with both you and the narcissist. When these individuals approach you with concerns about your behavior, suggestions that you're being too harsh or unforgiving, or requests that you consider the narcissist's perspective, it can be deeply painful because it seems to come from a place of genuine care rather than manipulation. The final dark reaction is what I call future contamination through preemptive narrative seeding. The narcissist doesn't just try to destroy your current sense of unbreakability. They attempt to contaminate your future by creating narratives that will follow you into new relationships, new opportunities, and new phases of your life. They'll warn people about your supposed tendency toward vindictiveness, your alleged inability to maintain healthy relationships, your purported mental health issues, or your claimed pattern of destructive behavior. These warnings are presented as concerned observations from someone who knows you well and wants to protect others from the harm you might cause. Jung would understand this as an attempt to create what he called autonomous complexes in the minds of others, psychological structures that operate independently of conscious control and influence perception and behavior. The narcissist wants to plant seeds in other people's minds that will color their perception of you long before they have the opportunity to form their own judgments based on direct experience. This future contamination is designed to ensure that even as you grow stronger, even as you heal more completely, even as you develop healthier relationship patterns, you'll continue to encounter the consequences of the narcissist's projections and distortions. They want your past relationship with them to haunt your future relationships with others. Understanding these dark reactions doesn't mean living in fear of them. It means developing what Jung would call conscious preparation, the psychological readiness to recognize and respond to these tactics without being destroyed by them. Your unbreakability isn't just about being immune to direct manipulation. It's about maintaining your center even when faced with the most sophisticated forms of psychological warfare. The narcissist's dark reaction to your unbreakability reveals something profound about the nature of authentic strength. True psychological sovereignty doesn't eliminate others' attempts to break you. It makes those attempts irrelevant to your inner state. Your unbreakability isn't a shield that prevents attacks. It's a foundation that remains stable, regardless of what storms rage around it. When you understand that the narcissist's escalating darkness is actually evidence of your growing light, when you recognize that their desperate attempts to break you are proof of your increasing strength, when you see that their fury is actually their unconscious recognition of your authenticity, you realize that their dark reaction isn't something to fear. It's something to recognize as confirmation of your healing journey. The path forward involves maintaining your unbreakability not through hardness or defensiveness, but through continued connection to your authentic self, your genuine values, and your capacity for healthy love. It means understanding that the narcissist's darkness cannot diminish your light unless you allow it to, and that your commitment to truth, growth, and authentic relationship is the ultimate protection against their psychological warfare. Share in the comments which aspect of this dark reaction you've experienced, and remember to subscribe for more insights into maintaining psychological sovereignty in the face of sophisticated manipulation. Your unbreakability isn't just personal protection. It's a beacon of hope for others who are still fighting their way toward freedom from narcissistic abuse.